Like, what's success, you know? Success in, in our society is measured largely by how much money you have or what kind of car you drive and how big your house is. But I have none of those things. That doesn't make me a failure, does it? Who I was, even as a kid, when I think back, you know, I've remembered this at times, I used to make friends with the kids who the others rejected, you know. My purpose in life is to try and make a difference and use my experience and knowledge to help others make a difference in their life. That was when I was having fights with my granddaughter and her boyfriend, and her boyfriend was here and I was trying to get rid of him, and they ended up having a fight. That's when the bathroom door got smashed as well.
He just punched him.
I think he smashed it because there's a hole down there too, you can't see that one so much.
You got him to fix it?
Yeah, he didn't do a very good job because during my early adolescence and like when I left school, I didn't have very much qualification. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I ended up just doing clerical work. But I went through a few changes. I had a bit of a problem at one stage in my life, in my early 20s. I wanted to be a writer, so I went to university and I studied English at first, and then I got interested in sociology and society. I was always interested in the way society operated, so I became a Christian minister in the Anglican Church in New Zealand. I found the structure of the church was very kind of traditional and hierarchical and limiting. I heard about a Christian community in Redfern, came out and checked it out and decided to move to Sydney. I had this desire within me to do something different, you know, and it took me a long time to discover what it was. I was married 8 or 9 years before then, and we had 2 young kids. Coming out to Australia, I didn't kind of realise at the time, but I think that was quite traumatic for my kids because they were only about 2 or 3 years old at the time. You know, suddenly being uprooted from that nice country parish in the middle of New Zealand, everything was sort of peaceful, and suddenly into the middle of Redfern in a Christian community with all these strangers around. I think it had damaged our relationship, so a few years after that my wife left. She left me with the 2 kids when they were 13 and 14 years old. My kids, they hung around with some of these other kids who were not going to school, and then they got into trouble, so they started to use drugs and do break and enters. I was flat out trying to work and keep the family functioning, and I had to work several jobs. It just got too much. Everything just collapsed. During that period, a few years later, when my daughter turned 16, she got pregnant with a local young dude and had a little girl. And then because of her drugs, she couldn't look after us, so I ended up, you know, with the care of Hayley. That's my granddaughter. So I had something to focus on, and even my work, you know, that gave me some meaning in my life, that I had a purpose, a reason to get up in the morning, and I could make a difference to someone else's life. So I didn't focus so much on my own problems, and that reinforced, you know, my own sense of self-worth. I suppose the light wasn't burning so bright, it was flickering with all this changes going on in my life, but it was still there, you know. I was working part-time for an organisation called Family Support Services, which works with people with family issues. So I was experiencing it myself, and there was a lot of services for women around at the time, but nothing for men. And so I started to think, well, we're only addressing one part of the problem here. So I thought there's a bit of a gulf there between the way most people live. Unless you grow up in the church, most people aren't interested in, you know, or they don't get it or whatever. It seems a bit foreign. What I was looking for was a way to translate that in a way that would relate to people's own lives and their experience. And then from all that, I packaged that together and came up with the idea of the men's shed. Now, a lot of guys who might have grown up with that when they were young, now they're living in a small unit in a town or apartment or something, and they don't have that space where they can meet and just do the things, all those old things that they used to enjoy. So this was filling in that gap. So I think that's largely why it's resonated with a lot of men. Like, you know, men's sheds have become popular, and they've spread all over the world now. Men's shed took a long time to get that off the ground, about 10 years, but I kept at it until it happened. And then when it did start to happen, I felt a sense of achievement. You know, a disaster can happen to anybody and knock you off your feet. Don't let it totally destroy you, and don't feel that you've failed or that life has come to an end. But hold fast to the things that you do believe in. So it's an opportunity in a way to drill down, you know, to discover more about yourself, about the things that are important to you. So keep that hope alive.